Hello everybody and welcome to TradeStation's Market Review. My name's Simon Clarke from Trade with Precision, and I'll be discussing a general review of some of the most interesting markets and trends that I'm keeping a close eye on right now. Now, one of the first markets I want to take a look at is the US stock market. And when I choose to trade the US stock market, one of my favorite instruments to trade is the mini Dow future. So taking a look at the mini Dow future, if we take a look at the higher time frames here, we can see on the monthly chart we've got a very nice strong bullish uptrend, very well behaved market structure here, and I certainly don't want to be fighting this market long. Coming down to the weekly chart, we can see again the weekly chart looking extremely nice, extremely well behaved, and very bullish to the long side. If anything, the market momentum has been a little bit more sort of sideways here in sort of recent weeks, but it's still looking very strong. The market structure is still high. Just even looking over from last week, and if I just sort of zoom into this slightly, you can see the sort of market has had a very bullish week last week, and it sort of moved off this sort of lower level down here that the market's tested for 3 weeks on the trot. So we've tested a low for 3 weeks on the move, and now last week we've had a very bullish move higher. Now when we come down to the daily chart, things don't look quite so clean on the daily chart. So on the daily chart we've had the high up here at 18,200. From there we've now had a low. In actual fact, we've had lower lows from there too. So even though the higher time frames look very bullish, here on the daily it looks a little bit more indecisive. So my plan of action on this market is to be more focused on day trading this market as opposed to swing trading. Maybe if we start to get to new highs, then I'll be maybe starting to look for longer term positions. But at this moment in time, I think this market's great for intraday trading. So the question is, where are those levels that we're going to be interested in at trading around? So I come down to lower time frames to do this, and coming down to the sort of 4-hour chart, and I started to draw a couple of levels in here. If I zoom out of this slightly, this looks sort of very sideways price action, but once we start to mark a couple of levels in here to see the market structure, things start to become a lot more clearer. So we can see that there's certainly a level around here, around the sort of 17,740 level that the market has found support at. It's certainly found support recently, moved higher, and more recently we've got this level around 17,900. So we can see this level through here again, tested many times as support and resistance. Certainly more recently here we've got a good 3 tests of this level. So a pull back into 17,900 would be a very nice area for the market to find potential support. Also happens to be right in the zone here in between the 10 and the 20 period moving average, so it's the zone where the market is not overextended. We got nice convergence on the indicators too, and all the moving averages in the right order. So potentially the next move for a well-structured trend on these mid time frames. Now if I come down to the 60-minute chart and start to look at that level here on the 60-minute chart, we can just mark in our level here at 17,900 here. We've got our tests here. We've got a good 3 tests of the level of resistance. We also happen to have a pivot there too. So we've certainly got a lot going on around 17,900. If the market retraced back into this area, could find support here, and if the market sort of found support there, that's where the higher low would be, and potentially the market moving higher. Now the other big market at the moment here is euro dollar. Euro dollar, or the euro I should say, is moving lower very nicely against the US dollar. We can see that here on these higher time frames. Very nice trends to the downside, but when we look at the euro, then what I start to look at is other currency pairs here to see where the best trading opportunities are for me. So some of the markets I'm keeping a close eye on here is the likes of Euro GDP, and taking a look at Euro GDP here on the monthly chart, we've already had a slight retracement here of the trend. Coming down to the weekly chart, weekly has already sort of come back into the moving averages, so it's not overextended. So again, if this is to continue lower, or if this trend is continue, we would expect a lower low, certainly a retest down here towards the 1.7 thousand level again. And that's a very reasonable move on some of these lower time frames. So coming down to the daily chart, we can see here on the daily chart we've got a level through here that the market's tested a number of times in this market. So a break below this level, I'd certainly be interested in looking for trading opportunities down here towards 1.7 again. That just ties in with the continuation of that weekly downtrend as well. The next market I want to take a look at here is Euro AUD. Now, Euro AUD, very technical market. It's traded around a number of different levels here very nicely over the past sort of few years, and it's been very technical around these levels on lower time frames. Now, the one that it's close to at the moment is this 1.4 thousand level. You can see that this level, it's been tested many times. Even here on the weekly chart, it's been going back many years. Market's now pulling back towards 1.4 thousand. So if we start to come down the time frames, we can see here on the daily that market's heading quite a reasonable pullback here towards 1.4. General direction of the trend is to the downside here, and potentially if this downtrend continues, well, we need to find a lower high at some point in time. Now, lower high potentially around 1.4 could be a nice area for that to happen. So we just need to see what else we can see occurring here. So if we come down to the lower time frames here on Euro AUD, looking on the 240 chart, if we look at where the previous, we've got a nice downtrend of course here at the moment on the 240 chart, but if we look at where the previous lower high is, it occurs here, up here around the sort of 1.40 and a half. So here's our 1.4 level just here, which if we found a lower high here would still mean that this 4-hour chart stays intact, the downtrend stays intact. So I've sort of come down to the 60-minute chart and started to see what we've got around the 1.4 level. Well, 1.4, we've also got a weekly pivot point situated in there at the moment. And if we start also to maybe draw in our fib studies into the same market, we can also see that we've got a 50% retracement level clustering around the same area. So we've got pivots, weekly pivots, 50% fib levels, very strong support and resistance all occurring around this area. So potentially a nice area where the market may find suitable lower high, and looking for maybe opportunities for this market to continue to make new lower lows, or certainly trading towards those lower lows as well. Okay, so if you like the analysis, then you might be interested in the webinars that we're running throughout the course of the next few weeks and few months. If you come to the TradeStation International website, come over here and click on Webinars tab, then you'll see a list of webinars that are scheduled to run over the next sort of number of weeks. We've got the dates here. The next one that we're running here is today's top charts, the futures market. This is going to be a live market analysis webinar focused on the live futures markets. All you need to do is to come over and click on the tab. This will tell you a lot more about the webinar, about what's going to be, how it's going to be run, you can expect to find in there. You can register for the webinar here and just put your details in, click register, and you'll then get sent a link in order to join that session. These are completely free of charge to join, by the way. Okay, so I hope you found it useful, hope it helps, and look forward to speaking to you next week. Bye for now.